to the Vikings missed the playoffs. Okay, we already answered that one. Let's see. From JT1634, how do the Vikings move ahead with Curse and Rhodes in the defensive backfield? Rhodes looks slow and lost. Well, Curse is a safety who was playing out of position, and he didn't really get killed. I mean, and here's I would turn that question in this direction. Sometimes Zimmer is too emotional. He's too emotional about kickers and punters, and sometimes he's too emotional about defensive backs who get beat during the course of a game. He puts in, the youngster, and Aaron Rodgers says, Geronimo Allison on this guy, touchdown. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this every time. Please, Mike, keep doing that. Zimmer's a very good defensive coach, but sometimes he's too emotional. He shouldn't be pulling people out of the game every time they make a mistake.
No, that's true. And I will say, early on, it was not good for the defense, and part of that was because I think they were trying to figure out the best combination in a very thin defensive backfield without a lot of help back there, and so it took them a while to find their bearings, and it didn't look good. But they did stabilize after that. I think if you say you go on the road and you give up 21 points to Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau,
that ain't bad.
That's not bad. I mean, would you like 17? Yeah, of course. But even if you would, 17 wouldn't have been enough with 16 from the offense. So I at first I was ready, I had the knives out. I was ready to carve that defense up after those first few possessions. I thought, oh my God, this is another case of them pissing down their leg in a big game. But they did.
Can we say that on the radio? Oh yeah, it's a podcast. We can say that.
They stabilized themselves. And they played lights out for the last three quarters. Played great, got some turnovers. Rodgers had nothing going. And so, you can be a little bit perturbed that they didn't get out on top of them early like they did Atlanta. But I thought they hung in there pretty well and gave Kirk Cousins plenty of chances to get back there and take that game, and they just didn't do it.
And as for Rhodes, he's a bigger cornerback. He's getting up there in years. For a cornerback, not for a human being. And he doesn't look quite as quick, whether it's preseason or regular season this year, but he's still a quality NFL cornerback.
Look at what Julio did last night.
Their problem, right?
Look at what Julio did last night to Philadelphia. He didn't do that.
That's a good point. I'm probably not giving him enough credit for what he did in Week 1. Mm-hmm. Yesterday wasn't great, but he wasn't getting torched all over the field. And you're playing against Aaron Rodgers. He's going to put some yards up.
Yeah, you're going to give some plays up in the passing game that way.
Let's wrap this up with what it do, baby. What it do? Is it possible that this was just Captain Kirk's worst game of the season and we're actually going to be fine? I've never done positivity before, so I'm not sure how this works. I think that's a great effort right there.
That's a great effort, great way to finish. Yeah, I mean, yes, it is possible.
Yep.
This Kirk has a history of putting up big numbers. He hasn't done that so far, so maybe the water finds its level in the opposite way going forward, and maybe he does put some things together. Maybe this was a little bit of a wake-up call for him, and he has it in him. He has had big games in him. Again, I won't be the one trusting him that he's going to lead this team to the Super Bowl until you see it happen, but he is certainly capable of playing a heck of a lot better than he did at Lambeau. I mean, we've seen it in the Vikings uniform. We've seen it in Washington. He does have a lot to overcome as far as a good stats, bad team type of a quarterback. But yes, I again, like I said before, I'm not ready to give up on him just yet.
I could see them being 5-3 or 6-2 at the midpoint of the season, and then we see what happens. I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not excusing his performance yesterday. No. Doesn't mean it's going to translate
I'll
to
still
what he does.
Be very nervous the next very big game that they have with him.
Yeah.
Whoever it is. And you can say, well, Oakland's a big game. But, when they get
Oakland's
at Chicago, you'll be like, oh my gosh, what are we going to see from him?
Yep.
That kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. Until he proves otherwise, that will definitely be my mindset.
Whoa,